Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Lieutenant Josh Johnson from the 115th, and welcome back to another video on the fall analysis product. What we're looking at now is we've established our Deams charts and our legacy and Deams analysis pivot tables. We have our raw data listings, including the DQS EQ listing, Deams out of Deams, and legacy out of legacy. And now we're going to continue on with our Deams running and Deams by OC or commodity type. So we go to the Deams raw, and we're just going to go up here to insert after we've clicked in the table and pivot chart. And I know where I want to put my pivot chart, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put it in an existing worksheet, and I'm going to find my dashboard. Now you would think you'd want to put it right here. Well, the problem with pivot tables is that they expand up and they expand down, so actually moving it over here for your pivot chart is better because we can move it as we need to. So when we click OK, we're going to bring it all the way over here. Notice the chart's over here, the filters are over here, which are fine. So now that we have our chart, what we want to do is we want to go in here, and first we're going to scroll all the way down and just start to play with our pivot table fields. First thing is OC sum and fall are going to be our filters. We're going to make sure that it is actually a fall product and that we make sure that the sum of those OCs do in fact equal greater than 0, so we're only looking at those data sets. And then when we go down to here, we're going to look for our posted date, which is just after reference 5, and it will bring in our posted date of October and November. We then just need the amount. And now remember, just kind of like the legacy, we're going to do a few things with the amount field. So just left click and then click on value field settings. It'll bring up your value field settings box. We'll just change the name to amount with a space so that it knows that it's not the same header as here in the pivot table fields. Leave it as a sum. Number format, we're going to change it to accounting, 2 decimal places then a $sign, and click OK. Your preference, your preference. Now we're going to go here though to show value as, and right now it has no calculation because all it's showing us is the total amount of fall-in that we've accrued each month up to that point. Well, what I want to make sure is that we show a running total in the posted date. So as transactions happen, what's the new total effect on the overall running total? So now we're just going to click OK. And notice the numbers again change. Now we have our filters. OC sum, remember what we were asking for is it was true if it equaled 0, so we want a false. And the fall, we want a true, that it is a true fall-in data set. So now we end up with our data here. Notice that it doesn't look like our accounting element took, so we'll go through here to accounting and 2 decimal places. And go up here to see exactly where our total fall has accrued. So now we can see that, boom, running totals of fall in and fall out have occurred. So now we can start to play with our formatting. We're going to right click on the first button and we're going to get those right off the chart right away. Go to this plus sign here and get rid of your legend. We won't need that. We can then come in here to your header and we're going to name that exactly what it is. Deams running fall in, fall out. And now we can start to play around with where we want to put it. Well, I'm going to move it all the way over here because I'm going to align it under here once we're done. Now for me, again, I don't like bar charts. When I look at running totals, I want to see them change to a line because I want to see the trend as it flows across. So we're just going to simply go up to change chart type, choose our line, choose OK, and go from here. Now we can format our chart area. Notice that the chart options are there. We don't really care about that information. Horizontal axis is one to clean up a little bit. Just go over here to this last axis options and then access options. We're going to cross it at category 1. We want to move it on our tick mark so that it makes up and uses the whole screen. And then you could go down through all of your different data sets as you need it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my series total. Now here on my series total, there's several ways to do this. Right now, notice it's the same color. Well, I want to look at it a different way. So I can look at my line in orange. I can then look at my marker in orange to make sure that my markers are the same. You can choose what marker you want. You could do a built-in, so you could make it a star, you could make it a line, you can make it whatever you want. You can make them bigger or smaller. Your choice as you go across. But for this purpose, we'll just go ahead and do orange. And now we understand that up here we had our measurements. So if we go to format, we want it 3, and if you remember in Legacy it was 3.733 inches. And boom. Now we end up with our Deams running fall in, fall out. The only thing we need to do is we need to get rid of grid lines, because those muddy things up. And then look, it gives you a format for what you want to see. And then we're going to look at data labels. Notice that you can choose exactly where you want to put them and how they want to play as they go across. And then you can move them if needed to get them out there nice and clean with your data sets. And then if you wanted to, you could also change where your accesses are on the total lines. You can look at your horizontal axis and figure out exactly where you want that access to be on everything that you need. So just go ahead and play with your data sets as you need to. But we're going to move on to showing our Deams fallen by commodity. So we're going to go back into Deams, back up to Insert, back to Pivot Chart. We know where we want to put it, so we're going to choose Dashboard. Again, we're going to slide over here so that we can make sure that we put our data there. Click OK. And now, as you can notice, it goes all the way across. So let me move this over for you so we can look at it grow. And so now, what we end up with is we want to be able to look at certain individual information just like we did before. So we want an OC sum for a filter. We're going to have a threshold for a filter. We're going to have an OC definition or an OC. It's completely up to you on how you want to look at it. OC might be cleaner. If you've been in Deams a while, you can see how things flow. Alright, so you can do your OC, you can do your OC definition however you kind of want to see it. But the last thing that we need to worry about is our amount. And now we're going to do a few things with the amount again just to clean things up. We're going to make this just an amount with a space. Let me turn my caps lock off. We're going to change our number format to that accounting with the decimal places. Now remember, we don't need to see a running total. What we're looking for is an actual total by commodity of effect. So we're not showing a running total of the year because it's going to total up everything anyways. So we're just going to click OK. And now we're going to go up and we're going to worry about our filters. OC sum, remember we want false because we don't want to see any zeros, and now all of a sudden you're going to immediately lose some data. And then threshold we're just going to leave as is. So now what we can do is we can come back over here, get our pivot tables out of there. We can come back over here and drag our data over. We're just going to right click and we're going to hide all of those radio buttons. We're going to change our heading to Deams fall by commodity. Now we're going to do a few things. We're going to get rid of those nasty little grid lines and those legends. We're going to get rid of that. And then just like above, I like adding a data table when I have these situations because the numbers at the end, the data labels get very difficult. The other way you can do it is get rid of all of this, add back in your grid lines, and leave your information across and just not have any headers, and it will kind of flow. The way that kind of looks is if we go grid lines, we take off our data table. Now we're able to kind of see how that information flows across according to the left legend bar. So however you want to kind of look at that. And over here, we're going to start to format so a few things. We're going to start with our horizontal axis. When we look at our horizontal axis, we can go through here and look at our text direction. And notice that I'm going to change this to rotating all 270 degrees. And so now what I have, or you can rotate them all 90 degrees. And now you're able to see all of that data there. You can also go up here and use some of these tools. You can bold them. You can make the fill, you could make the text black so that you can see it a little bit better. You can make the fill no fill so that you can actually see all the bar charts go down. So you can play with that data as you really deem fit going across. And then we just want to go up here to format, and we're going to make it 3 by 7.33, just like everything else. And now we can go here, click that one first, click this one second. Under drawing tools, it gives us this really great little align left. And then we can click this one first and this one second. And now we can go up to format and click align top. And now we know that everything's there. And now the last thing that we really want to do is we want to make sure that this isn't blue. So when we come down here, we can go and click on the data that's necessary. And once we click on that necessary data, we're able to come here to fill. And remember, we wanted to change that fill to orange. So now we have an orange data set. And the last thing that we really need to worry about is I don't want to see these pivot tables. I think they cloud my dashboard, so I'm just going to slide them over and off to the side. And then I could zoom in just a little bit if I wanted to. And the last thing I'm going to do right here is I'm just going to merge and center all of these lines. I'm going to make it in the middle and make it right. I'm going to make it 18 and bold. And I'm going to put in here total O&M fall in, fall out for current FY. And then I'm going to take these two totals, I'm going to merge and center this. I'm going to make this an accounting field. I'm going to make that also 18 and bold. And now here is where you're going to just do two very simple Excel formulas, but very powerful ones. Just an equal of a sum. Now here's where get pivot comes in nice. So we've already done the legacy analysis, right? Already done. So we want the grand total of all the months, of all the years, right here. So just find that grand total and grand total field. Click there and look. Now it's going to tell me I just want to know how much data you've actually filtered out. And then I'm just going to put a plus because I want the exact same thing for Deams. So now I have my total grand total from both. I'm going to right parenthesis it. I'm going to hit enter. And I know that right now my current standing, after I click view and remove the grid lines, for my total fall in this fiscal year is $14,570.11, affected by all of these different commodities, and if I need to drill down. So that is a sample run-in to the fall-in, fall-out data product from the beginning to end to creating that data connection and everything else. So remember, if you just download the product, you can very simply go up here to data and connections and click on your GL and fall-in, click on properties, click on your definition, and browse to your GL transaction spreadsheet and click OK. If you use the report file, you can do the exact same thing for legacy. And the EEC listing, you can just keep in there or copy and paste as values and maintain it. So if you have any questions, please, by all means, give me a shout, give me a call. Lieutenant Josh Johnson. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll talk soon.